Hi, my name is Kevin Campbell, and I am going to tell you my testimony of how I overcame lust. So, backstory, I believe overall lust started back when I was about 9 years old. And I know I gave a testimony about overcoming porn, but I feel like there's a distinction between being addicted to porn and being overcome or being addicted to lust, because people can actually be addicted to lust or have lustful thoughts or overcome with lust, but at the same time they're not watching porn or they're not addicted to porn. So I wanted to give I guess a description or a decisiveness between the two. So growing up from the age of 9, I believe, based on what I can remember, I started having sex, and I believe that's when lust creep into my life. I believe that was the open door of my life.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about, you said your testimony is going to be about lust today, but just kind of give us an overview of what are you trying to say in this testimony today?
So the message I really want to put out is that you actually don't have to battle with lust, because I actually thought it was a part of me. I actually thought it was normal. I thought I was born this way. I thought, oh, but aren't every man like this? That was my thought process. But then coming into the truth, I realized you actually don't have to live like this, and you can live free from lust.
Okay, so you mentioned, starting at 9 in terms of certain sexual activities. Is that where you also would say your lust started, and just overall, what has battling with lust look like for you throughout the years?
Yes, I would say that's where the lust started. However, I believe at that age, I didn't know it was lust. At that tender age, I didn't have any idea what it was or what it was called. However, I know that I liked it very much, and remembering everything from back then, to be honest, I love see girls. I would gaze at them. If they pass me and I think they look good, I will literally turn my head. And I know a lot of men have experience where that is concerned as well. But yeah, growing up, it was always a thing where I thought it was normal. I genuinely thought it was a part of me.
Okay, and how has lust affected your life?
Drastically, if I could use one word to sum it up, in the sense that it brought so much perversion. It brought me in cheating. I believe the lust is what steered me into even watching porn and being addicted to porn. Lust took away my self-worth. Lust prevented me from loving myself and loving others. And I said that because clearly I didn't respect myself based on the things I did, and clearly I didn't respect the women I was doing things with. So I believe lust robbed me from self-worth, from love, from dignity, from integrity, and most importantly, lust robbed me from a relationship with God. And I say that because I remember growing up, because my background is really a Christian family, and my grandmother always prayed for me. It's like, if we need to give your life to God, you need to give your life to God. And for me, my one thing I always hold on to, which I always told my grandmother, boy, grandma, I don't think we can give up the sex. So every single time when I was asked the question, why don't you give your life to God? Why don't you surrender to Christ? My answer would have been, I don't think I can give up sex. And I say this to say lust really robbed me from the relationship I could have had with God from ever since.
Okay, you mentioned, robbing you from the opportunity of pursuing God. So how did God help you to get over this? And if he did, in what way did he help you to get over this?
So one thing I want to point out, because a big lesson I learned in this journey, is I always say, I need to fix this first and then I come to God. And I realized that wasn't true. I realized that was a lie from the enemy, where the enemy actually want to keep you away from God, to let you feel unworthy so that you can't come to him. So that was my biggest tension. Like, I really need to fix this before. However, that wasn't the case. I think I got desperate and I said, God, I need your help. I'm coming to you. And in coming to God, being vulnerable, being open, I realized then God could now step into my life and start helping me. And I know I gave the testimony regarding me overcoming porn, and I went on a consecration of 7 days, and I didn't watch porn since. However, the lust didn't stop at that point, and hence why I made the distinction between addiction to porn and addiction to being lost or being lustful. So how God helped me is, I believe, teaching me more about who he is, and then I understood who I was. No practical example, because I not even want to use fancy words or anything like that. Practically, I remember I used to go out, and if I'm on the road, I'm driving, I would see a girl and again stare at them, and lustful thoughts would come to my mind. And I would say, God, like, I don't want to live like this. Like, this can't be. This really cannot be how you want me to live. And I remember coming home to my wife and sharing it with her, and I said, yo, like, I just feel so bad because, like, this thing is still plaguing me. And she's saying, all right, Kevin, next time you see a female, do not try to fight looking. Look, but do not sexualize the person. Look at the person as the temple of God. And I said, okay, I'm gonna try that. And I remember I went the first time it happened, and I tried it. And when I looked, I was fighting, and I literally heard her voice, and she's saying, look and do not sexualize the person. And I looked at the person as just a woman, not a sexual object, not a thing, not a something. And the lustful thoughts went away, and I said, wow, this is amazing. I didn't know I could feel like this. So that happened for a while, and I kept going, and that was working. But to be honest, I realized that was a temporary thing, and I realized the devil always come with like some white collar crime thing. So that only worked for a time, and I realized, because nowadays, to be honest, there are women who walk and basically they really don't have on any clothes. So at that point, when I would see women like that, it's like it was so hard for me to visualize them as the temple of God, because literally they're practically naked in front of me. So I realized it was getting harder and harder. And I said, okay, there has to be something else. And you know, I would hear ministers, to be honest, for example, who go on the pulpit and they would say, nothing is wrong if you see a lady and you're lost at her, but as long as you don't do it. And I feel like that is doing men a disservice, because I can tell you can live a life without lustful thoughts. Now, there's a difference between being attracted to someone and having lustful thoughts. Now, God, of course, made us as human beings. So if I see a woman and she's attractive, I don't think anything is wrong with that. But the problem comes in when you look past her beauty and you start looking at her sexually and thinking, what I would I do with her, right? Intention, like you start visualizing her naked without her clothes. That's where the problem comes in. So don't let the devil attack you by saying it's wrong to be attracted to someone, because that is normal. But do not let it pass attraction and move into lust. Astray a little bit, but coming back to how God really helped me through it. So I remember I was in prayer, and guys, it was really getting bad. It was really getting bad. And I started having sexual dreams again. I said, no, this has to stop. Because just like the porn, when you would watch porn, after you'll feel dirty, is the same thing with sexual dreams. And I believe I'll do another message on dreams on a whole to let us understand that dreams are really spiritual and it's not just dreams. So I would have sexual dreams and it feels so vivid. I was like, no man, this needs to stop. And I remember going into prayer and God revealed to me that no, actually I watched a sermon and the apostle was saying you have to hate sin to conquer it. And I say, hate sin. I said, until you hate it, you will not get over it. Yeah. And I remember I went into prayer and God revealed to me and said, Kevin, well, you don't hate lust enough. You don't hate it enough. And that for me was the turnaround. And I remember that night I prayed against the spirit of lust. And I believe I was delivered from the spirit of lust that morning. And I really prayed. I prayed. And it's so funny because after that prayer, I went to sleep and literally the demon came into my dream trying to allow me to have sex in the dream. And in the dream, I was binding up the demon and say, I bind you in the name of Jesus. I'm no longer like this. I'm no longer like this. And this will not happen again. And the demon literally fled from my dream. Of course, the demon came in the form of a woman in the dream. And I believe that was the last time I had like a battle with lust. So now it would be a case where if I'm on the road, the devil would try not to open a door and say, you don't see that girl. But I know now that I have dominion. I know now that I have authority. And I would say, devil, you cannot do that. You cannot tell me to do that. And then literally the voice would stop. So I'm just encouraging that you can live a life without having lustful thoughts. You can live a life overcoming lust and having dominion over it. Understand that God has given us dominion and authority over all sin, over all demons, over all principality, over everything. However, we have to understand that we have that dominion, that we have that authority, and now exercise it.
Yeah, I think you've kind of touched on everything in terms of just the fact that it's how men look at women. I know when you said you don't want to just call them something or look at them as
right.
Whatever it may be. You were at the barbershop recently, and it's how the men were speaking about the women. So culturally, our men really do objectify, our women, and so that kind of adds to what young men are used to seeing. I know we had questions. We kind of touched on everything, so that you kind of spoke about the fact that it was getting to you in your marriage. So I don't know. Are there any closing words that you have to encourage anybody? I know you spoke about how you're handling it, but like, what's the first step for them, and just anything else you want to say?
Yeah, definitely. For me, and this goes for both male and female. It's not just for men, because women also battle with lust. My encouragement would be that you can walk in freedom. My encouragement would be that you don't have to live like this. And the first step, I believe, is understanding that you need to hate it. You have to come to a decision. And oftentimes, and me and Michaela talk to people about desire versus decision. So a lot of times we want to have the desire to stop something, the desire to stop sinning. And I always give the example with a bottle of water. So let's say you're thirsty and you desire to drink the water. Until you make the decision to take up the water and drink it, you'll literally die for thirst. So sometimes we desire to change, but we haven't made the decision. So for me, my encouragement is decide that you want to stop. Decide today that enough is enough. Decide today that I'm hating this sin. And it doesn't only go with lust, it goes with gluttony. It goes with fornication, it goes with idolatry, every sin.
Lying,
you literally have to decide that enough is enough and start hating that sin to move forward.